Welcome to McJosher. I'm Josh, and this is our apartment for the next 6 days or so. A few months ago, somebody wanted me to make a video on how I end up making things in such a small place. And by small, I mean we have a one-bedroom apartment with a deck, a kitchen, living roomy sort of room, a bathroom, and a closet or two. 650 square feet or so. And so far, a lot of the things that I've made, you've seen me build right here. Now, sometimes I do work at my dad's shop or at my father-in-law's house or at my friend's house, but a lot of times I end up finishing things right here. So why don't I just walk you through how I have everything set up right now in our apartment before we end up moving out of here. I'm excited because we're going to a bigger place. I'll actually have a garage and a little place to build a workshop. So that should be pretty fun, and it'll give you guys something different than this same old kitchen table that you've enjoyed for the past 2 years, or not enjoyed. So let's start with the kitchen table. This is pretty much my most important workplace in the whole apartment. You'll see I shoot so much of what I do here. Thumbnails are shot here. A lot of my working is done here. I've used the scroll saw here. I drilled holes here. And this is really my workshop, especially in the winter when I can't go outside. My wife is really great and she lets me use the table. I do use this though. So this is a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. I wasn't gonna use it for this, but then I realized that I needed to protect the table, and it works great for that. You can see I spill stuff on it and the table still looks somewhat decent. This is our living room. This is right next to the kitchen where we were, and this is where I end up doing all my editing, back at this desk right here. I don't really do a whole lot of filming out here. The light's not quite as good, and there's really not a lot of stuff here I can use to work on. But while we're here, I wanted to show you something. So the lighting. I just have this $10 rice paper lamp that I picked up at Lowe's. I have 2 of those, and I have them on an extension cord, and I can just bring those around anywhere I want. So even though I'm here and the lighting's poor, I can get decent lighting. So now, just because we're in the living room doesn't mean that I don't have anything out here for making stuff. Case in point, this cabinet. It has a record player on top, but inside I have my belt sander as well as the router down here on the bottom shelf. Another good example is our entryway closet. I have my scroll saw in here. Of course, for anything that involves heavy-duty sawing, I have to go outside. Well, here we are on the deck. This is where I end up doing all of my really heavy-duty work. I'd say it's about 12 foot long and probably 5 feet wide, so it's big enough that it gives me some room to work, but not a ton of room. There's also a roof that protects me from some rain, but still, if it's raining, I'm generally not out here. If it's really hot, it's really hot like today. If it's really cold, it's really cold. So there are some drawbacks. But the benefits are, I have my nice workbench out here, I have a vise on that workbench, and inside of the workbench I can store things like wood, paint, things like that that I don't want to keep in the house, but I can keep them out here. Really, it's a great place to work. It can get a little dirty, I can clean it up pretty easy, and yeah, so that's where I make big things. Our bedroom is really all about storage, and most of that is dedicated to tool storage. The first thing you notice when you walk into our bedroom is my miter saw and my bending brake. I really have not found a better place for these. So yeah, they're just kind of in the middle of the floor. One other side note. So I use DeWalt's 20-volt battery-powered tools for most of my tools, and even the miter saw is powered off of these batteries. But the really nice thing about that is that all my tools work together. They're all pretty small, and I don't have to be running around looking for outlets. So in this circumstance of being in a small apartment with little room, these are a really good way to go. Here's my nightstand, but most of you would call it a toolbox. I also have some storage under the bed. For instance, here's my vacuum. Once again, battery powered. This dresser behind me is another important storage area. We do still have clothes in here, but for the most part, it's these organizing bins that I use for small parts, my circular saw, my orbital sander, my Dremel tool, and some impact sockets. And then down in the bottom drawer, I have my jigsaw, my angle grinder, soldering iron, and some chisels. And that's almost it. I just have one more storage area, and that's in our bedroom closet. So in here, I have a little bit of storage for paint up above my clothes. And then down below, I have my air compressor, and then I also have a bin for odds and ends that I might find useful in projects, as well as some canned things and stuff like that. I really need to organize this. And that's the McJosher workshop tour. Really, all I wanted to do, guys, is encourage you to get out there and make stuff. You get on YouTube and you see all these guys with huge workshops and lots of tools, and this stuff is helpful, but it's not necessary to be able to make really amazing stuff. And I know that you guys can. You'll find ways with the tools you have, with the space you have, to come up with what you want to come up with. I've been doing it here for the past 3 years, and so just so I'm going to a bigger workshop, I'm still gonna be doing things a little differently probably than anybody else would. And that's the beauty of making things. You can do it however you want with whatever you have. And it's really neat to do that and try to blow people's minds with what you're able to do with so little sometimes. So hopefully that's encouraging to you guys. Get out there, make stuff, do stuff. So I'd love to hear about your workshop. How big is it? What kind of tools do you use? How do you store things? And if you have any questions or comments on how I've done things here, I'd love to hear those as well. So put all your comments down below. Let's get a discussion going, and I will see you guys at the new workshop. That's it.